it will be a salty and a sweet cookie at the same time. But quickly, I want, yeah, hi everyone. So quickly, I'll cover a little bit of theory regarding the cookies, because you should get an idea what basically a cookie is, how it is different from the biscuits you consume at home, and maybe some history or traditional thing which originated the invention of cookies, right? Are we good? Is everyone with me on the camera and all eyes on my workstation and on my spotlight? Perfect. Yes, I really like your energy. I may be a little low on the energy today just because I'm not quite well, but it's okay. Just because you guys are so energetic, I am also feeling the same, and I'll try to do very good in the session today. Okay. So let me tell you something about the cookies. So there's a very small traditional thing or a history which is involved with the cookies. Now, cookies basically is a little or a baked confection which is sweet in taste. Now, if you compare a cookie with a biscuit that you are consuming at home, cookies will be way more gooey. They can be chewy, but they won't be only crisp like your biscuits are. They are crunchy and crisp. They're not gooey. They're not crisp. They're not chewy at times. So this is major structural or textural changes a cookie and a biscuit has. Now, coming to a little history which is involved, the first popular type of cookie was made in 7th century AD in Persia. Persia is now Iran. Now, they came to know about sugarcane. They harvested sugarcane for the first time. With the harvesting of sugarcane, people came to know about sugar granules. Now, when sugar granules came into picture, they thought of baking something which they could travel or carry with them for longer days, maybe 5 days, 10 days down the line, and which would not spoil the texture within that particular time. So they just, in a bowl, the first recipe, which is a very popular recipe, they just had roughly mixed some flour, eggs, some sugar, and they had put it to bake. We got a very popular type of a drop cookie, which was traditionally the first popular recipe of the cookie. Now, talking about the types of the cookies, later the drop cookie traveled to places. Is everyone able to hear me loud and nice? Then those who are facing the issue, try rejoining again. Now, talking about the types of the cookies, the cookies can be divided into nowadays n number of types, but precisely we'll be telling you about 4 types of cookies that is widely popular all over the world. Now, the first type of a cookie can be a drop cookie. Now, with the name itself, you can make out, just mix everything. The dough will be quite soft. You can scoop out your required quantity of dough, put it on a tray, and just bake it. You'll be getting a drop cookie. Now, Masoom ma'am, we are already in the middle of the class. You have to be patient for the demonstration. I want that everybody who is new to the cookies and brownies thing should get an idea about the basics of cookies. So, I was telling you about the drop cookie. So, a choco chip cookie can be an example of a drop cookie. Now, comes the second type of a cookie, which is an icebox cookie. Now, today we'll be doing a type of a cookie which is a icebox cookie. In this type of cookie, you have to make the dough in a form of a rectangular log, maybe a square, a rectangular log, or just a basic round log. Then we are going to chill it in the refrigerator for at least 2 to 3 hours. After chilling, we take it out. We then slice it up nicely and we put it to bake. Okay, making a log, chilling it, slicing it, baking it. This is what icebox cookies is all about. Now comes the third type of cookie, which is a bar cookie. So, for a bar cookie, it is almost similar to a icebox cookie. In a bar cookie, we are also making a rectangular log or a bar shape of the dough. Now, it involves 2 types of baking. Now the first baking is, we are going to bake the whole log in the oven for some amount of time. When it is thoroughly baked, we take it out, we let it cool, we then slice it up nicely in uniform sizes. We then, after slicing it up nicely, we again put the tray inside the oven to bake. So it is basically two types of baking which is involved. 2 times it is baked. A very popular example can be a biscotti or even cake, rusk if you talk about. Okay. Now, coming to a fourth type of cookie, that can be a cutout cookie or a rolled cookie. Now, like you roll your rotis and parathas, the same way the dough will be soft. You can easily roll it out or spread it out. Using some molds or cutters, you can even cut out nice shapes and put it on the tray and put it to bake. So these are precisely the 4 types of cookies that I wanted you to know. Now, I told you I'll be covering the icebox cookie. So I have got the ingredients here. Yeah, so I'll quickly share. Allow me a moment. I'll be pasting the recipe ingredient list in the chat box for all of you. I want all of you to quickly grab the screenshot, please. Allow me a second.
So guys, while ma'am is, bringing the ingredients, I want to say this to every one of you, each and every one of you. We understand that you people are here to learn, but before all that, you need to know about some theories also. Okay? So that's the reason why we are taking some time and teaching you guys before we jump to that. Okay? Because if we start telling you from the middle, it will make no sense. You people will not understand the basics, right? And even though this looks like very easy, we need to know about all the basics before we jump into directly cookies. Okay, so please be patient in the class if you want to learn it better. Yes, ma'am, you can carry on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Monica. So, have you gone through the recipe which I have just now pasted? You will be using flour. The flour will be maida, which is the all-purpose flour that you have at home. I'll quickly wait for 30 seconds and I want all of you to grab the screenshot. Are we good? Once you are done, kindly put a thumbs up in the chat box so that I'll quickly start with the demonstration. Perfect. Thank you. So we have some ice cold butter. Let me spotlight my overhead camera for you guys. Yeah. Is my workstation visible to everybody? Nice and clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
perfect. Thank you, Monica. Now, I have got this is basically a chunk of butter which I have. I'll come to it. This is basically cumin infused butter. I will be telling you how do you make this. But basically, this bowl has got the dry ingredient, which is the all-purpose flour and some icing sugar. If you want, you can take powdered sugar or ghar ki pisi hui chini in that case. Okay. Now, this butter which you are seeing is a cumin infused butter. Now, how do you make a cumin infused butter? You have to melt the quantity of butter that is mentioned in the recipe with half teaspoon of cumin seeds. Let it melt nicely till you see the butter turning light brown in color. Okay. So it is basically a cumin infused brown butter. So you are going to make a brown butter just to ensure this brown butter will be giving you a nice nutty flavor and a caramelized taste of your brownie, of your cumin infused cookies precisely. Again, if you don't want to use brown butter, you can simply melt the butter with cumin seeds, put it in the freezer to stiff up, or in the refrigerator for at least 1 to 2 hours and then use it. I'll repeat. So we have made a cumin infused butter. You have to melt the butter with the given quantity of cumin seeds till you see little brown, the butter turning light brown in color. This brown cumin infused butter is going to give an extra nutty flavor to your cookies, which the regular butter won't be giving you. But it is up to you. If you want to use just plain butter, then simply warm the butter, put some cumin seeds inside and add it. And keep it in the refrigerator to stiff up, then use it in the recipe. Now, the idea of using ice cold butter here is basically the method that we are following to do this recipe is called a sanding method. Now, what is a sanding method exactly? When you are going to rub the flour and the butter, which is the fat here, when you are going to nicely rub the flour and the fats, gradually you will see that each flour particle coats with nice amount of fat around it, which means you will get a nice soft cookie and a crunchy cookie at the same time when it is baked. So to achieve that, all the dry ingredients coat with right amount of fat around it, we are going to use an ice cold butter. And while you are using ice cold butter, make sure you are gently rubbing it like this. Don't go harsh on it. गुस्सा नहीं निकालना है अपन को इस पे. Very gently, just play with the flour and butter here. Very gently, see. And the best weapon is your hands. Otherwise, if you don't want to do it with hands, use a food processor. Okay. Now, I told you this is a method called sanding method. Eventually, you will see when we gradually rub this flour and butter together and each flour particle coats the butter nicely, eventually we will get a texture of this particular ingredient as sand or breadcrumbs. That is the reason we call it sanding or a breadcrumb method. Are we clear? Everything seems to be easy peasy for you guys. Perfect. So I'll quickly mix this up gently. So sorry, my daughter was like, she was hungry, she wanted something, so I just assisted her something. Sorry about it. Now,
ma'am, there is one more question. Can you just repeat? So, Hatija is saying we should melt the butter and cumin seed and then we should freeze it, right?
Freezing will quickly make it stiff, but ideally you can refrigerate it if you have ample amount of time, right? Now see, the butter chunks are intact. I'm not like crushing it down like this. Very gently, I'm giving it ample amount of time to completely mix and blend with the dry flour. Now, do you see some changes, slight changes in the texture of the flour here? Diksha ma'am, like I am trying to speak in English. अगर दोनों languages cover करूँ तो बहुत time ले लेगा. But again, आपको जहाँ समझ में नहीं आता है मैम, आप मुझसे दोबारा पूछना, मैं आपको समझा दूंगी फिर से. Okay? Yeah, you can try with wheat flour, but you will have to adjust the quantity of the butter because wheat flour contains more fiber in that case. This is a cumin infused salty and a sweet cookie. Now, I'll zoom for you guys to see the texture. Does it appear like a breadcrumb and a sand? Yes. Which flour? This is maida I'm using here. Now, we are going to add some amount of milk just to combine everything together. Not much, just when everything comes and combines and becomes a round ball. That quantity's milk is okay. Now, I have used a salted butter precisely. If you want, you can use unsalted butter, but add a pinch of salt in that case. My idea of using a salted butter is just to ensure that taste is balanced. And in most of my recipes, I use salted butter only. Now, you will see it is almost coming like a ball. Suman, maybe in the community chat, I'll be able to help you with the same when you are using wheat flour. I'll do a bit of homework and then we'll get back on the community chat. Now, it is coming together like a ball. So now I have this roll of cling film plastic wrap. I'm going to tear a portion out of it. I'm going to spread it on my workstation like this. Now, all those who don't have these rolls, you can keep this in a Ziploc bag. Now, the very important step with a cookies is resting or chilling your cookie dough. Why I'm saying this? Now, you see the butter at this stage is very, very soft. Now, when you make round balls, flatten your cookie and put it to bake, the butter is soft. In no time, it will spread and melt in the oven, which means you are going to get a flatter cookie in that case. So it is always compulsory or mandatory to chill your cookie batters for at least 2 to 3 hours so that it stiffens up nicely. And then when you take it out, slice it quickly and put it in the oven. That stiff butter will gradually take some time to melt and will give you a nice textured cookie in that case. Sorted? Yeah, Masira, it is already added with the flour. Now, I'm going to put it like this. I told you icebox cookie, we have to make a ball, a log shape. So, with my hands.
So, can we do all these things without a microwave as well? Like, is there any other way?
Yeah, you can do it in a pan if you want, but make sure you are using a lid for the same. The same way you do bake your cakes in a cooker, you are going to put it on a you have to put some cooking sand or salt at the base. Once that is done and preheated, you need to put the plate with the cookies, sliced cookies, put a lid on and almost bake for the same amount of time in that case. Okay.
So the same
freezer
timing.
में yeah. So डो freezer में अपन को नहीं रखना है. It is in the refrigerator.
सिर्फ ठंडा करना है, ठीक है, जमाना नहीं है इसको.
हाँ, मतलब बटर को स्टिफ होने देना है at least 2 to 3 hours. And if preferable, what I do specifically for my choco chip cookies and intense cookies, you can keep it for overnight also.
Ma'am, also one more question. Are you adding baking powder or baking soda in this?
No, nothing. The butter will do the wonders for your cookies. Go and try out this simple recipe and do post some pictures on the feed too, because you will be loving it. An easy peasy recipe that I've brought for you. Now, this log is ready. I'm going to chill it. We don't have much time for 2 hours, but we'll keep it in the freezer for at least 10 minutes so that it quickly, it is good for babies when you make it a healthy alternatives. Now, we'll quickly start with the brownie recipe now. So I've got the ingredients here. I'll put this in the oven. I'll put this in the refrigerator, the cookie dough. And we'll start off with the brownie recipe. And I'll quickly preheat my oven also. I'm going to preheat at 170 degrees for almost 10 to 15 minutes of time. Okay.
Sorry. Ma'am, there's a question. Choco chip भी ऐसे ही करेंगे करके? if we have
No,
to.
for a choco chip recipe, it basically has to be gooey from inside, crisp and crunchy from the outside. So for specific cookies like choco chip and oats and raisin cookies, there are particular other ways that we achieve it, right? So let me quickly put this in the refrigerator. I'll be back and we'll start off with the brownies. Okay. Now, the brownie recipe includes, I'll quickly introduce the introductions to you. The ingredients precisely. So this is a bowl of dry ingredient. And when I come back, I'll share the ingredient list in the chat box for you guys. Don't worry. So this is a bowl of dry ingredient, which has the all-purpose flour, a pinch of like a very minimal quantity of baking powder, some cocoa powder, and some coffee powder, which I like to add in some intense cocoa powder flavor of confections. If you want, you can skip coffee also. Now, this bowl has got the fats, precisely the butter, the chocolate. I had some dark and milk, so I'm adding both. It is a Van Houten 46% dark chocolate that I'm using. Be patient, ma'am. You'll be getting the recipe. I'm just introducing the ingredients to you. And we have butter, the chocolate, and some powdered sugar in this. It is basically icing sugar here. If you want, you can grab powdered sugar for the same. Right? So the idea is to quickly melt this bowl ingredient, which is the fats. Nicely, you can do it on a double boiler if you want. Otherwise, you can do it in a microwave in the burst of 30 and 30 seconds. Now, I'll come back and I'll discuss things. So I'll quickly melt this up and I'll be back with the demonstration.
So are you guys asking the recipe of this one particularly? Ma'am, iska share करेंगे आपको, ठीक है? If you're asking about the before one, I'll share you that one again, ठीक है? Just a minute. वो आपके comments में ही है. If you go back, you can see it, but it's okay. I'll just paste it here. आप लोग को कौन सा वाला रेसिपी चाहिए? अभी ये वाला जो मैम अभी बना रही है? How to make that? Yes, okay, ये वाला, okay, इसका वाला मैम will give you right now. Guys, please have patience. आप लोग patience में नहीं रहोगे तो कैसे होगा? मैम का गला भी खराब है. She'll tell you everything आराम से, ठीक है? Ma'am, can you please repeat what all ingredients are you melting together? She'll tell you again. She'll tell you. Wait. माइक्रोवेव में टाइम टेम्परेचर क्या रहेगा? ठीक है. I'll ask this question again. ठीक है? How to make icing sugar? Please, cookie recipe also share with us. Cookie recipe is the before one, right? Wait, I'll share it again. Just a minute. Give me some time, guys. Abhi tak, how is the class going, guys? Can you all tell me in the chat box? Are you people liking it? Are you people getting it? अच्छे से?
So I'm pasting the ingredient list for the fudgy brownies.
Okay, ma'am, just a minute. I'll just give them the cookie ka once again. They were asking, and then you can give them. Yes.
So people were asking me, how do you prepare icing sugar? Then commercially, icing sugar is basically a composition of powdered sugar and some, if you call about some corn flour. Basically, sugar is hygroscopic in nature, which means it tends to absorb all the moisture from in and around. Now, if you don't add corn flour, your sugar will turn wet and lumpy. So commercially, when like manufacturers, they manufacture the icing sugar, they are adding powdering, like it is a very fine powder, plus 1/4 of corn flour is always added to the icing sugar. But I would not suggest you to go ahead and make it at home, because you would tend to like spoil the icing sugar or the powdered sugar in that case. Try with the powdered sugar, it will do the same kind of job for you. Allow me a moment.
So everybody was asking for, the cookie wala ingredients. I've shared it, and the next is this one. Just please take a screenshot or anything for that. Okay, keep a screenshot.
Now, I have got this is a cup measurement, but I have got a grams measurement also. If you want a grams measurement, I'll be sharing that also. Here it is. I prefer going with the grams measurement. So I'll share that also if you want. Now this is it. Yeah. So to start off, I told you the dry ingredients are here and the wet ingredients, which is the fat, is here. So I've already melted it in the microwave. I'm quickly going to stir. The idea of incorporating the sugar also with the butter and melted chocolate is just that the melted butter and chocolate will be little warm. This will help the sugar to be homogeneous and mix thoroughly with the batter. And this is going to give you a nice crackle top for your brownies. So you are quickly going to stir till you mix and dissolve all the sugar inside. Muskan, I have added the fats here in this bowl, which is sugar, some melted chocolate and some butter. It was not exactly melted. It was just the chocolate weighed together, chocolate, butter and icing sugar. And I've melted it in the microwave in the bursts of 30 seconds. And yeah, you can use Mode or Vanlier, any compounds also. But in that case, your brownies, the crackle top of the brownies won't be good enough. It is always good with like couverture chocolates, precisely. Couverture chocolates being like Varhalona, then Calabu, any of these types of chocolates are good enough. And yeah, you can use normal sugar, but please pisoing it a bit or like powdered sugar, powder it and then use it in the recipe so that it mixes well. What you are confused? Now I have mixed it nicely. Yeah, we mix the chocolate, butter and sugar together in a bowl. We microwave it for 30 seconds. We mix it nicely so that the sugar mixes and becomes a homogeneous mix. Now we have the dry ingredients, which is all-purpose flour, cocoa powder, coffee powder, and a pinch of baking soda. I'll be adding it inside. गर्म दूध नहीं डाल सकते हैं मैम. आपका बटर और चॉकलेट वार्म है, वो हेल्प कर देगा आपके मिल्क को, मतलब आपके शुगर को ब्लेंड करने के लिए. मेल्ट आपको बटर, चॉकलेट एंड शुगर करना है साथ में. ड्राई इंग्रेडिएंट मैम जो मेंशन्ड है इंग्रेडिएंट लिस्ट में वही है. इट इज ऑल पर्पस फ्लावर, सम कोको पाउडर, कॉफी पाउडर which is the normal instant coffee powder, and a pinch of baking powder. Now, the baking powder mentioned in the recipe is only to give a structure to your brownies, right? Baking powder is basically sodium bicarbonate. When sodium bicarbonate, it is basically sodium bicarbonate plus some acids in form of like citric acid, cream of tartar. So, when baking powder reacts with some liquids or some moisture, it will produce carbon dioxide bubbles. Now, the quantity of baking powder is very small, so it will hold all the structure of your brownie together and will give you a nice texture for your brownies. Okay. Now, we added the milk just to adjust the quantity of just to adjust the consistency of the batter. We are not going to have a very runny batter. We are just
So, ma'am, can you just quickly tell them what is the temperature of this milk? Because everybody is asking this same question. Guys, please pay attention
it is a
when she's
normal
telling
milk
you.
that we have used.
It's normal, okay?
And
No
I
temperature.
showed you just now, I've added the milk just to adjust the consistency. Whenever you are adding things, just to adjust the consistency, it has to be done towards the end.
And for those people who are asking for the ingredients, I'm putting right now. Please take a screenshot. बाद में फिर से नहीं पूछना, ठीक है? Take a screenshot right now. I just sent it, okay?
Now, when you don't see any unmixed flour lump, we are good to go. Means our batter is homogeneous and mixed. Are you seeing the consistency? It has almost like a dropping consistency, but not so ribbony or not too wet if you talk about. Now, I've got this loaf tin here. I have put some parchment paper at the base. I'll be transferring it to the mold here. Now, like you do for your cookie dough, you have to chill your brownie batters also. It is for the same reason that when you put the soft butter brownie batter inside the oven to bake, you are going to get a singed brownie. Right? Now, when you stiffen it up in the refrigerator and then you put it to bake, then that brownie will hold a structure nicely and will come out nice. Now, talking about how do you check for the doneness of this brownie? Now, when it is in the oven for it will almost take 13 to 15 minutes of time. We are going to bake it at 170 degrees. Now, after 13 minutes, you need to insert a skewer or a toothpick just because every machine would be different in which you are baking. So you need to insert a skewer inside. If the skewer comes out with little crumbs on it, means you are good to go. You can take out your brownie. Now you have to perform a very important step, which is called a cold shock. Now, when you have taken out the brownie, which is ready in the oven, you take it out of the oven and keep it on the countertop. But right after you take it out of the oven, you will have to expose it to refrigerator, which is called a cold shock. Now, we have to drop the further cooking of the brownies to achieve that the brownies are not further cooking enough. We are going to take it out of the oven and put it to the refrigerator so that the temperature of the brownies drops quickly and you will have a nice fudgy inside and a gooey inside of the brownies. Right? Like you must be doing for your pastas. No, with the mold itself, you can keep it in the refrigerator quickly, right after you take it out of the oven. Now, like you do for your pastas and noodles, you drain it out, you drain the water, hot water, and you wash it under cold water, right? To stop the further cooking of the pastas and noodles. Same process has to be followed with this brownie batch. When it is baked, you take it out of the oven and expose it to a cold shock, means you put it directly in the refrigerator. And you have to let it stay for at least 2 hours down the line so that the brownie sets, the butter stiffens up and holds the structure. Then you take it out, demold it, cut it into nice shapes, warm it a bit and serve it. Right? Now, I'll quickly bring the cookie batter for all of you. A cookie dough that we have created, we'll quickly slice it up and we'll arrange it in a tray and we'll put it to bake. Okay? So I'm quickly getting it. Sorry. So I'll keep the tray aside. Now, I'll remove the cling film. कुकर में बेक नहीं मैम, आप पैन में बेक करो, मैं आपको सजेस्ट कर रही हूँ. कुकर से अच्छा आप पैन में हैंडल कर पाओगे. Now, I don't add vanilla essence, but I've mentioned because some people come back and say कि मैम raw taste आ रहा था flour का. So I have not added vanilla essence. I prefer intensifying the flavor by adding a bit of instant coffee. Now, I am using a serrated knife. This is a bread knife or a serrated knife that I'm using. I'll slice the sides because I don't want the sides. Very carefully slice each like nice size cookies for yourself. Make sure that it is of the same thickness. Gently. Now, it is a very small log, so I am nicely using my fingers to almost round it up like this. But again, if you want, I'll show you how do you make round balls, flatten it up and you put it to bake. I'll show you that also. I'll discard the sides like this. Let's discard the sides. Now, very carefully. This is the biggest reason you will tend to break it apart where you're not chilling it up enough. See, I'm just turning it. It is not quite stiff and chilled. So I'm carefully turning it around and I'm cutting the slices. You have to be very gently going it. We've got the slice. Using your fingers, try doing and getting a nice clean edge for the same like this so that you get nice rounds if you want. Done. I'll put this on the tray. Same thickness. We go in for the third brownie, third cookie layer. See, I'm turning the log and meanwhile I am nicely handling it. Just to get clean edges, I'm moving my fingers across the cookies like this. Clean. I'll put it aside. Now, if you don't want to, like, you're not pretty sure about this step or method, I'll show you how do you quickly make a easy round ball and you then flatten it out and you put it to bake. I'll quickly show you that also. Fine. Clean. Perfect. Now, this one I'll tell you how you can easily do another way. Let me make two round balls for the same. Maybe some equal size. Now, if you're not pretty sure, you can even weigh out small quantities or small portions of the dough, make it into round balls, and then put it to bake.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
a person is asking कि मैम चॉकलेट मेल्ट होते ही ना जम क्यों जाती है and oily लगती है, like इसके
It
लिए
is
क्या?
because of the bad quality chocolate that is there. Generally, this problem would occur in chocolates that contain more of the hydrogenated fat in place of cocoa or butter. The fats, which is the hydrogenated oil and palm oil, they separate when you heat it for a like nice amount of time. Now,
मैम ब्राउनीज को बेक करने से पहले कितने देर फ्रिज में रखना है उनको?
2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, same for cookies and brownies. Now, see, I'm almost flattening it up like you do for pedas. The same way, I'm just flattening it and making round cookie dough. Simple. If you feel that slicing method is difficult, you can do it like this. ऐसे आप इसको almost छोटे छोटे पेड़ा बना सकते हो, and you put it on a tray and bake. Last ball. Nice and easy. So I'll arrange it. Let me clear everything from here. Yeah. So we'll arrange it on the tray nicely. Okay. So this will go inside the oven. Now, if you're separately baking the cookies, you need to bake it at 160 degrees for almost 8 to 10 minutes. If you're separately baking the brownies, try baking at 170 degrees for almost 13 to 15 minutes. Now, I am doing it together just to show you guys. So I'll be baking at 170 degrees. Now, how do you check for the doneness of a cookie and a brownie? When you see the sides of the cookies turning light brown in color, you can take out your cookies out of the oven, let it stay in the tray for at least 10 to 15 minutes. The brownie size is like 4.5 inches. It is a loaf tin, 4.5 inches cross 2.5 inches.
Ma'am, can you tell me the cookies ka timing that you said, the separated one?
It is 8 to 10 minutes. And when
the degree?
It is 160 degrees. It is mentioned in the recipe, Monica.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much. Sorry, ma'am.
It's okay. So, when you see it turning light brown from the edges, you need to take it out, let it be in the tray for 10 to 15 minutes, cool it completely. Then you can keep it in a airtight box for at least 10 days down the line. Coming to the brownie, once you put a skewer inside and it comes out with few crumbs, you can take it out, put it directly to the refrigerator, let it set for 2 hours, and then take it out, cut it into nice shapes. We have not added baking soda to the Cumin cookies. Now, if you feel that you want a very nutty and caramelized flavor of the cookies, you can even go darker on the sides. Textural changes will not be happening to your cookies, but only the taste would enhance. If you want to go a little darker, then the sides you are looking for is a darker shade of brown. Then you can take it out and keep it on the tray and let it cool. Okay. So with the both rods on, you are going to bake it. I'll quickly put this in the oven. We'll come back and discuss.
Gauri, are you able to hear now? अभी आपको आवाज आ रही है? Okay, ठीक है. So everybody who is asking for a recording, the recording you will get it only if you are here from the starting of the class till the ending. Okay, आप लोग अगर शुरू से end तक हो तभी आपको मिलेगा recording. अगर आप लोग बीच में आए हो या आप लोग बीच में बहुत बार निकल गए इस क्लास से, तो you will not get the recording. ठीक है? तो मैंने बता दिया अभी सबको. Please remember this. I am not going to repeat it again. Time नहीं है इतना. ठीक है? Okay.
chocolate कौन सी brand की? It is Calibu chocolate that you should use. And Shruti, we have already discussed cumin butter thrice in the class. So we'll take 5 minutes of your time, and Monica has got a biggest surprise so far on Bit Class. She'll be revealing the surprise to you guys. Monica, would you come up with the surprise? Because I have a class at 1. I'll have to leave quickly. So let's quickly.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And once I'm done with it, then ma'am, we will be showing you the outcome of what we have done, right, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. So, guys, please, sometimes my brownie butter is oozing. So, guys, we'll get back to your questions, okay? Please stay back, okay? It is only a 1 hour session, so we can try as much as possible आपके questions के answer देने के once I am done, okay? So, the first thing that I want to know is how was the class? Can you all tell me in the chat box how was the class till now? Did you all learn it अच्छे से? Yes. Great. And I loved your energies as well. I can see like the chat box was all the time flooded with questions, ma'am. Ye, ma'am.